Alright, so we have another submission here. This is a core necro game. Should be pretty interesting. If you guys don't know what this show is, it's a series where people are sending me their PvP footage, and I'm watching it through, providing some commentary on how they play, what they do, giving some tips. I'm not the greatest player in the world, but it's been really fun and interesting to get different perspectives. So if you guys want to join in with this, anyone can submit me footage. The more the better. I'm actually running low on footage at the moment, so I'm kind of grasping at whatever I can get. This footage in particular today, I'm very happy to have sent to me, but the person who sent it has sent a really low frame rate video. Okay, it's actually really painful to watch this footage. So what I'm going to do is play it at a faster playback speed so that the low frame rate isn't such an issue. So I can fix it somewhat on my end by us watching it in a faster speed, and there'll be a bit of pause in, right? But in general, it's kind of iffy. So hopefully this will be all right. And yeah, if you guys want to send me some, please do. You can send it any way you like, via YouTube or Google Drive, or just send me a message with a link to your footage, and we'll see what we can do. Anyway, so Core Necro. Core Necro is an interesting build. It's not as strong as Scourge on Skyhammer. It's not even as strong as Reaper on Skyhammer. Reaper's strong on this map for different reasons, mainly because the nodes are all very clustered. And especially in lower rated games where everybody just zergs to points and gets blown up by all your AoE, Reaper could be very good. So of the 3 Necromancer varieties, I think that Core Necro is the bottom, but it's still pretty good because, you know, the 4 will go through walls, and it was buffed by the most recent patch. I'm assuming that this is a post-patch version of the build. You can actually run Core Condi, or you can run Core Power. I don't know which you are. I think you're going to be Condi since you've got Corrupt Boon here. Some people will favor Corrupt Boon even on Power variants for what it's worth. It's that strong of a skill. But also you've got Lich, and I think maybe in your message you told me it was Power. We'll see in a second anyway. So I'm keen to see how this looks post-patch. I haven't played Core Power Necro post-patch. But we'll see how it runs. I really hope you mouse over your build and we see what we've got. I just want to take a look at the comp for a second. You have double DH, which in low-rated games is extremely strong. By the way, this is a gold 1 queue for everyone. So it is a low-rated game. Double Dragon Hunter is amazing for all the reasons I said Reaper was amazing a second ago. You have your own Scourge, which is good. You've got a Scrapper that can at least hold 1 point. When you only have 1 side noder, and especially in low-rated games, I actually prefer the side noder to go to the far point, because especially like a Scrapper, people will just keep rotating into it and overcommitting, and then you just have the freedom to have your 4 kind of brainless DPS guys just keep these nodes simply by the fact you're zerging backwards and forwards. If you have your side pointer like back pointing, I don't know, in a low rated game when everyone else is just DPS, it tends to be annoying because people start wiping, and I don't know, and they'll win this and then they push far and then they wipe and then you can't sort of do anything. Anyway, we'll see what your team does. It's too much micro for early game. Let's see what we go. Now, for your 3 lines, it's really important. You could run Blood or you could run Spite. Those are the kind of 2 that I would say you could swap out. So let's see. Well, hold on. You're on a Wanderer amulet here. So this is Condi. All right. So we're definitely on a Condi build. So wait, you've got Scepter, Dagger. I like the Dagger. Dagger means you're not Warhorn, which means you're going to be starved for swiftness. But you have Traveler runes, it looks like. So that's a good combo. I actually quite like that. You only moused over that for a split second. I'm pretty sure this is Traveler runes, right? And so what have you gone? You've gone Big Terror, right? You are Dread, Terror, and Fear of thingy. You've also gone... Why did I just see it moused over Foot in the Grave? You're not running Foot in the Grave, are you? You're on Doomfire here. I actually do respect Doomfire. I think that it is the best way of playing. Foot in the Grave's really good, but the play style of Shrouds is you use it to corrupt and to pressure, and you often don't have this up as a stun break exactly when you want it to, because if you're ignoring Shroud completely and relying purely on weapon cooldowns, you tend to not have that much impact. So you kind of really want to go into Shroud, but then waiting for that first CC to hit you, and what if nobody's targeting you at all, so you're going to use it anyway, and I don't know. And the Doomfire, just, you feel like you get that extra bit of pressure sometimes, you feel like it's that extra bit of kills. Doomfire can be really high value. Also, with Foot in the Grave, you become bait for getting corrupted yourself. So there are different traits you can run here, definitely. But I think you've got a reasonable build. I think your build's okay here. I think even Wanderer Amulet is okay. And so I'll try and offer whatever advice I can. A lot of what we see here is going to be kind of mechanical stuff, based on how much pressure the build has versus sustain. And since I haven't been playing this exact variant and I haven't, with these exact lines, this exact trait set up this exact rune and amulet, I don't know exactly when you bottom out and the precise moment when you need to kite. But I can tell you if you have low awareness on other things. So, let's roll on through and see what we've got. You're engaging in chat. I don't actually think that matters very much, to be honest, but hey. Okay, so straight away, you are flesh worming. I probably would have flesh wormed back a little bit. I don't know where you've targeted this. We'll see in a second. But I would have flesh wormed back so that this cast wasn't going on, so I could already be using my staff marks here. I wouldn't open with the 5 either. I mean, on a Terra build, it's okay, but I think it's more value later. You've already random dodged because you've been Dragon Hunter tethered, and maybe you know the pull's coming. Funnily, Foot in the Grave would actually be a good counter for this scenario. You don't really have a great response here. The dodge certainly wasn't. You get pulled anyway. Maybe Lich? You chose this jump pad instead of the other one to go up. Maybe I would have chosen the other one already. I maybe would have Spectral Walked underneath, possibly, to dip back down under there. I like Worm Walk combo, by the way. I think that's extremely strong. I never mentioned that about your build. Another random dodge. Your Scepter 2 didn't do too much. You really want more Shroud right now, so you have to be on Staff. This Corrupt Boon didn't do anything. It was into a Dagger Storm. I don't really think that Lich was that good here. So Lich on a Condi build is interesting. I think people like this for the Terror, for the Terror combo and the Fear here, right? Did you instant teleport as well? Does that deny the Fear? You used Unstable Madness. I would get out of this at this point, to be honest, because you get extra Shroud the second you leave, right? I'd get out of this and dip into F1 to help pressure that body quicker, and I'd be in Tainted Shackles right now. I would also, now I would dodge out of the trap. I would dodge, I would have left, I probably wouldn't have been in the trap, but now that you are, I would dodge, I would leave out, and I would use this from range, and I would mouse over whoever's going for this stomp right now, and I would shove Doom in his face. You did get the Doom on the stomp, it looks like there. You got lots of downs. I would be hitting this with Doomfire right now. I wouldn't use the 4. It's not enough pressure for you. That's kind of like resustaining your Shroud. This is okay, though. You just about squeezed that rally out, and you've managed to move forward. You took the Flesh Worm for mobility to stop the decap. I like the speed that you've done that. Oh, and now you're hesitating and you're turning around. Actually, watching this a second time in editing, I wonder if this hesitation was actually just you checking to see if anyone else was coming to the engagement, like an enemy on respawn. I think you're doing that because you don't really have a good sense of how fast people respawn and stuff. Try to get used to using left click to free cam. That way your character doesn't actually move in the direction that you're looking, and you can have higher awareness on things without compromising on efficient movement through the map. But it was a nice little maneuver if it was because you were just trying to get more information about where enemies were. Again, the speed you did this was great. You've started on Staff for this. This is very good. What I would do is I would use the Chillblains and the 5, and I would immediately come around here as I'm in the cast of the 5. Because what he's going to do is Greatsword for you. You're going to see that animation, or 2. Either of them this will ruin. But you're probably, in Gold 1, you're going to see him Greatsword 4. And you're going to move here, and it will deny his Greatsword 4. Let's see what happens. Okay, you charged onto the node, and you went for the instant interrupt into dodge rolls. Me doing this play, he would have dodge rolled already. And you would have had more resources before going deep. I think you've gone too deep too quickly. You didn't need to do this. You could have taken even more free just damage and value here. I'm really sorry, guys. I thought that this was a Mesmer. When I was looking at the silhouette there, I thought it was a Mesmer. It's actually a Reaper. And he's gone with the pull. So everything I said there wouldn't have worked out. But then again, if I was actually playing this, I would have taken target quicker and I would have known it was a Reaper or not. You didn't have the target till you moved in. So maybe that's a comment as well to get the target a bit quicker. Either that or I just didn't notice it in the footage. So the Shroud 2 is interesting, by the way. Wait, let's watch your timing. We have to rewind it. Now that we know it's a Reaper, let's talk about how we play this. We still do the same play, by the way. All right. So let's see your target. We've re-round. We're back to the entrance of the node. Okay, now you've taken the target. I think you took the target last time. I think I paused before this, maybe. I would still make the same play. So since this is a Reaper on Greatsword, you could anticipate the pull, and I would never go on the node because I'm now scared of his Greatsword 4, which is an expanding blind field. You range this to death is what you do. What I would do is get my marks, exhaust my marks. I don't care about the cap. Honestly, I think what's on your mind is the cap right now. I wouldn't worry about that. I'd let him take it if he wants it. I would just take free staff damage, staff damage, staff damage. I'd even stay completely at range and wait for Scepter to come back. Then, once I get in, I would probably go for the jump pad. You're going in deep, so let's talk about your version. So the instant cast Doom. You've done this in point blank range, so you get a really long, juicy fear duration. But the problem with this, right, is he still has stun breaks and stuff right now. He might even have Spectral Walk, and that's just going to destroy you. So I really don't like your engage. I think that you've just blown such a cool thing. If you can get a Spectral Walk before you use this, imagine that. You just kill him for free, right? But instead, let's see what he does. Spectral Walk, right? He Spectral Walks, dodges. Your Tainted Shackles has to be cancel cast because you dodge rolled here. And here, you've just dodged. You've got no endurance left. And he's a Reaper. I would be going for this pad right now. I'm actually scared you're going to lose this 1v1. I don't know. I am scared, though. I get that you're enjoying this. Here's the other thing, okay? What prompted me to rewind a second ago is, as a Reaper, I would never use the 2 in Shroud until I see he's gone into Shroud, because nearly all Reapers will go into Shroud and they'll pop their Spectral... No, it's not called Spectral Armor. What's it called? I need to relearn the name of the skill. But anyway, their damage reduction and stability skill. I would wait until I see Shroud, and then I would go for some kind of corrupt mechanism. And if I was feeling very patient and safe, I'd actually obviously look for the boon itself. You've just blown it without it. So now he's got Stab, and you haven't got anything. So now your best play is Corrupt Boon right off the bat. But he's blinded you. I think your best play now... I would Corrupt Boon off the bat. What can I say? You take a dodge, which drops... what were your 3 lines? Did you drop a Mark of Blood there and cleanse your bleed with blind with that? Anyway, now you go the Corrupt Boon and you get the Fear. Weapon swap Scepter 3 now, and come up onto the pad. You came onto the pad. This is very good. Yeah, and now you just cleave him. Scepter, just channel Scepter stuff. He teleported out. Stay up here. There's no reason to go down just yet. I would have stayed up because the guy's obviously going to come back around the corner. You've probably taken a decap that I wouldn't have. That was a good Shroud as well. I definitely would have done that. I'd be in Tainted Shackles now and a dodge. Yeah, you Tainted Shackles dodge. Scepter 3 and Corrupt Boon. Another Corrupt Boon right now, like literally right now, and you've won the fight. Especially with your plus. You did it. Okay, now I would... so this is a Daredevil that came in. I would help cleave this, definitely. That's all you need to do. Good. Shroud and Doom. That's all you needed to do. And then I would just leave. I'd easily just leave now. It would be interesting, the new balance, to see if the 2 teleports you over or whatever after he does a massive disengage. That was a random dodge that you didn't need to do. Maybe because you saw it as a DH, you thought he was going to F1 off the bat, in which case that dodge would have been nice. But I don't know. I feel like DH is at least wait a little bit, and you kind of want to see an animation before you go for something. It's really hard to dodge that F1 when you're close to the Dragon Hunter because the velocity is so high. So I wouldn't have even attempted it. I appreciate that you saw a lot of boons there and you went for this. You're in a very good position right now, by the way. I agree with your rotations so far. I agree with this as well. Kite out, heal, and use Spectral. You are tethered here, though. So what you're going to want to do is go into Shroud. Realistically, I'd be in Shroud right now, and okay, you see this burst that you just ate here, because the Guardian had GS5'd you, and most low-rated Guardians will pull that really quickly. It's actually quite often better to leave it, I think, but I mean, it kind of depends on the circumstance. And obviously he's a Dragon Hunter, so he's trying to pull you in. I would have been in Shroud so that my health would probably still be near 100 right now, and I would stay in it right now. I would still be kiting for what it's worth. I wouldn't try and take this fight. I feel like this guy tanked too much damage. I feel like I've got too much focus, and I'd split their attention. Maybe walk back towards close where my ally was a second ago. He's obviously ran out anyway. But you have more kite potential there as well. So now you've exhausted your Shrouds. This guy's overheated, and you've taken the target very quickly. So this Hollow has played terrible because he's overheated, and then he's ran over to this node for the decap and put himself low. And you have targeted him instantly. I think that the only reason I think you're on this Hollow is because you saw he was going for the node. But it's actually an incredible play, and I think you're going to get the kill here now. Oh, okay, so he's a prot Hollow, and he's dropped the arena. So what I would do is I would stand on this corner, I would go to Scepter, I would chain autos until the arena is gone, and I would see how my health is as that period of time continues. He's just left Forge, right, and he can't really do much right now. So I wouldn't feel too scared. But if the pressure doesn't start building for you and you don't get good Shroud at that point, I'd be kiting very quickly, actually, but possibly before the arena even leaves. So your timing of the Shroud there was a bit poor. You want to stand right on them, right? If you're running Enfeebling Shroud especially, and you can take this kill, I wouldn't stay in Shroud. I would have left Shroud already. Don't use... this doesn't do anything for you right now, right? Like, basically 0 damage, and you're spending life force to do it. I would leave Shroud. Your win condition here is to kill with the F1, right? The F1 Boon Corrupt is really important. So you want that cooldown back as fast as possible. So I'd leave Shroud and Kite right now. That's how I would win against the Prot Hollow. Don't be on the Thumper turret and Condi burst him after the arena ends. You did leave Shroud and you did Kite. You're not jumping, you're dodge rolling. You cancel cast your own Lich. I think you've realized Lich would do nothing for you. I think I just caught you do a very low rated thing, which is you dodge roll to cancel animations, don't you? I spent a long time doing that myself in the earliest days of Guild Wars 2. What you really want to do is press escape to cancel cast or set a bind to stow weapon. Save your endurance. It's such a waste. Prepping the worm off the side as well is really important. I don't think you're going to be able to do that once you climb up because they're different nav meshes. So that will kind of screw you. You've also given yourself 0 value from Spectral. Oh, you actually got a bit of value out of Spectral. Okay, now you've been plus. You really should have been up here yesterday. The hammer that was calibrated for your team is interesting to think about, but I don't think is really going to help very much. So yeah, climb up. Tainted Shackles as well, in case they follow, was really nice. I think you did it a bit preemptively. But that's pretty nice. Okay, so here you had a really cool idea for play. Sorry, it's moving very fast because of the quick speed here, right? So, you do get the Kite in Shroud. The Tainted Shackles could have been really nice. Now, with the guy following you, I would actually always make the first jump, I think. Most of the time, well, like, what's the harm in making the first jump? Tainted Shackles would have been really good because you could actually proc the immob in midair if you, like, game it properly. Take the first jump because he might mess it up and then you're fine. But dropping and climbing again is brilliant, right? A little lesson for everyone on YouTube, and I guess the person that I'm talking to here. When you take a jump pad, it puts a debuff on you that means you can't jump again for a window of time. So if you take the Kite and they spend more than like 5 seconds before they take the Kite too, you don't have the debuff, he lands, and he has the debuff. So you can climb down, he follows you, and instantly go back up. And now he's screwed because he's got the debuff from his previous one, and you don't. And you've got plenty of time, okay? So this play you made here, after he instantly followed you, the only answer to this is for watching if your enemy drops down and then immediately back on the pad. Now, in high-rated games, people know about that debuff, and the guy always stays until his debuff is exhausted and then follows or whatever. But even that can be something of a win for you in a 1v1 scenario. Here, you're 2v1, so you're sort of still in danger when you're down below. So anyway, you come down, you missed all of that. So that's something I wanted to say, because now you could go back up right now while the guy's on the debuff. I mean, the Prot Hollow could trade, but it's a Prot Hollow, it doesn't do much damage. The next thing is you start running over here, right? And this is actually all kite terrain. You can jump, jump, jump here. And this is really strong. Most people don't know this. You have marks up, so you could chill planes behind you. This kite over here is like, it doesn't matter if someone's crippled, chilled, or whatever. They just jump and then the game moves them to the place. This, CCs for movement, will really screw people. So you can climb onto this and CC behind you and you can fear and stuff. And I actually kind of like that idea. I would probably do that and then even Lich and probably just fear and leave Lich quite quickly. Though, to be honest, I'm not great with the Lich interactions for Necromancer. I don't know this exactly. But I do that for Shroud, okay? I think that Plague Lands is such a better cooldown, by the way, especially on Skyhammer. You could have had one on here for so long. But again, that might just be my ineptitude with the build. You don't kite here. This guy doesn't aggress you much. You do the Lich play. You take the Resustain with the lifesteal. You take the Fear. You're standing next to a guy in a Photon Forge. And, your main target... Did he just try to Dagger Storm? I'm not entirely sure. You leave Lich straight into Shroud, just like I said. That's good. I really like that. You're going to get the kill as well here. So you got a kill in a 2v1 here. This is brilliant. And even... So now that you've Tainted Shackles here... let's see. And he's already ported. No, you don't have enough health. A reasonable play sometimes, if you've Tainted Shackle and he in supports, you could stomp that. But I think this guy will get the res before you can do it. Or counter pressure you and you'll die. So, I don't know whether you're going to get this cleave, personally. Because I don't know I don't think you have the damage. I think that this is going to get res and you lose the fight. I might be wrong. These players might be bad enough that won't happen. But in any normal game, I wouldn't have taken this fight for as long as you have in the first place, frankly. It's amazing that you got a kill. So I think I would leave. I think I would look at this as an opportunity to leave. I would worm here, regroup with this Guardian, and then come back in a 2v2 later. Probably. But you're going to try and stay for the fight, I think. You're going to try and cleave from range. And yeah, you got killed by them and you died. So yeah, I probably would have tried to avoid that. The downstate terror attempt was, you know, some damage too. But that's greed. I think you're getting really confident in your build and the abilities of the build, but you're greeding a little bit here, I think. Your Guardian there played a little bit like a robot. Just WASD directly into the middle of the node, drop all traps and do damage like with nothing else. It's kind of interesting. So, sorry, your respawn rotation was perfectly fine. I'm not sure whether you were watching the mini-map, but it was fine to come here to mid and to secure this 2-cap. This is already one, though, realistically, so I'd get forward now and I'd start filtering marks over onto that bridge over there. Mind you, they did get a res because your allies knocked the body over the edge and then they went over there and they got distracted. So I have like a mechanics tip for you as well that really separates the mediocre Terramancers from the really good ones on core. And it would have been relevant in the previous fight and also relevant during this cleave scenario here too. Your auto attack on Doomfire, it cleaves, right? It cleaves even without Doomfire, but it's a huge amount of your pressure. So in any downstate scenario or place where people are being a little bit more stationary than normal, always remember the fact that it cleaves. Like here, you could have been targeting the body and still Condi bombing the body as well as the Rezo. You kind of had the wrong target here. That's extra value when you run the Spite variant as well, because each tick procs shit tons of might on you, which turbocharges the burn and other Condi. If you don't know how relevant or strong that is, you can check it out for yourself at the golems. Like, go to the AoE golems and cast like a couple of auto attacks and see how fast you hit the 25 might. And that's so much of your pressure. That's one of the reasons the Doomfire synergy is so important on this build. So continuing this fight is perfectly fine. You're just free casting with your pressure off the point, and I think that's good. I think you're corrupting Boon at a regular frequency. I think you know what your Scepter skills does. You did a really nice dip in and out of Shroud there, which is excellent and what you should do on Terra Necro. Okay, so you're rotating back to close for a 1v1 again. I do think that this is a strong 1v1 build. The thing is a Prot Hollow. You have a 2-cap, so the instinct to look for this, I agree with. I think that's fine. However, the second I saw it was the Prot Hollow again, I wouldn't take this fight because he has Mass Cleanse. I don't think you can win this fight. So, what I would do instead now is look back to any respawns, and I'd hold a 2-cap. I'd just have a far-pushed 2-cap. Home is not a magical place that's more important than far or whatever. And if this guy's just going to, like, rot here... okay, so... I would maybe there are some circumstances where I go for this 1v1 in the anticipation of a +1. But I would only do that if I've walked to the node and decapped him under his nose. You're doing this on his node. I think this is a massive mistake and a big throw. Your team is ultra slow, by the way. But think about it. There's more than enough other objectives to deal with. This guy wanted some help in a 2v2. There's going to be respawns to defend point B. The hammer's coming up. And you're giving 0 value. You've basically put a lot more pressure onto your team here with no, like, real victory condition. They have to overinvest to give you a +1 for this to turn into a victory for your team, which means that your allies are going to be 3v4, right? If the only way you win this is to put them in a 3v4, and that's not good, is it? So, well, anyway, that's what I believe. Maybe, I mean, he just rampaged. Maybe you get some really nice corrupts in a row. He dips out of rampage before any good corrupts. You take a kite. Like, you're being forced to kite in the 1v1 as well. Spent a lot of Shroud there that didn't really create any value. I would be feeling pretty stingy about that. Like, you don't have too many good debunk mechanisms. You get your plus, and you very aggressively move. I like this as well. You don't stand on the node. You keep pressuring for it, and you manage to get the kill. So this is really good. I would leave right now. Good, you leave as well. You don't stand for that. You even dropped a single mark on it, the fear mark. I like that too. Your camera work could be a bit better. Looking to the left to make sure 100% nobody's coming. You're going to the hammer as well, or you're looking towards the hammer. I would look at this bar and see that it's almost full, so you don't need to go there. I would look up to mid, and I'd go ham on mid right now. I'd go really deep. I'd play very aggressive, because the hammer's going to force them to eat a ton of damage, blow a dodge, or get off the node anyway. You don't need to 4v1 this. This was a bad rotation. Oh, well, okay, they're filtering in as well. I still think this is a bad rotation, though, because if you went to mid, you would have held some of them there anyway. I mean, your composition is good when everyone snowballs on, but it's very volatile. It's very volatile indeed. I don't think I really like this. I would have gone to mid. You managed to get the cap of the hammer, but I don't think they really needed you for that. You might say that they did because there were so many players there, but you could have been hitting those players before they even went through the Asura gate. So you get to mid as well. This is really good. When you cap a hammer, spamming your way to mid before they recap the node is really good. But you should be standing on that right now. This is a place where you do want to go on it. Just to sustain it before your scrapper gets on. You never know. Your scrapper might accidentally hammer 3 off in a minute. He's already blown his stability, or one source of his stability. And so I would not be surprised to see that flip in the enemy's favor during this fight. Your off point is very good here. You're staying in a kite place. You're pressuring them and not letting them get away for free. It's a firebrand, and you got to watch for his tome. He just popped Eternal Oasis, so there's probably another one. I wouldn't use any cooldowns right now, especially not Corrupt Boon. I'd swap to Scepter and auto-attack him until I see this tome's done. So, because look, he's just going to do F2, wait ages, 5, F2, 5. Unless he's bad. I mean, it's kind of interesting at this rating, because people can die to things they shouldn't. Here, I don't really like your gameplay. I think that the Firebrand leaving, I think you've realized you've got no damage on him, right? You could kill him, by the way. You just got to wait for the time stuff to set up, right? And you quickly retarget to this, and I think this is good. I think this is fine. But then you leave the Reaper. The Reaper's a free kill, man. I would Tainted Shackles this. Okay, and look, you're going to break your own shackles here. You don't need to be here. You're thinking about the node too much. Kill this guy. Watch how you break your own shackles and deny all your own torment. And let the guy walk off as well. Insane. You're very nervous about taking pressure. That was a good little kite, but yeah, I think you could have been here right now, killing the Reaper. Good with the worm, by the way. Very good. This Rampage, you need to Corrupt Boon this, and you need to Spectral Walk back right now. I would pre-cast Spectral Walk straight away. Get off of the node. Oh, mind you, your walk was here. That was kind of awkward. I would have kited there as well. I think you're dead. I don't know how the hell you... Oh, well, unless they're... Okay, they're bad. They're all just like zerging. And okay, so that's fine. You got away. That's really good. You moved around the side. I would have moved around this as well. If I'd gone that deep and this had all happened, I think this was your only escape because you debuffed yourself on this anyway. I would have climbed on this earlier, though. I don't even know if you're going to climb on it at all. Okay, the Reaper's here. You dodged nothing. You've tethered him, and I suppose that's cool. I would keep autoing. You drop Doom. The frame rate's really bad here. Yeah, okay, let's just rewind this. Let's see what you actually could have done here. So you decide to re-engage. You take target, you see it's a Reaper, but you're already in Shroud, okay? So there's not much you can help here. I would probably about face and just start kiting away here while holding the 4. Not random dodge and try and trade blows like this and stay within like a 400 range gap or like 300 radius. This is really dangerous because I think he's going to kill you. He got you with, what is that, Focus 5? I would immediately staff swap Fear here, and then when he gets feared, he probably shrouds to react, and then you can Corrupt Boon and you can kill him. But any other scenario is not going to work out for you. So now he's going to shroud, inevitably. There you go. Sorry about the frame rate here, guys. Yeah, he killed you. And you didn't have space to hit his stability, which I think he's Foot in the Grave as well. I'm pretty sure we just saw Foot in the Grave proc. So yeah, you kind of walked into a monster there. You've pinged your ally there because you're angry with him, and I think you're right to be. I think the Scrapper did make a misplay there. I think the Scrapper should have came and helped you. Could have dropped a stun and a new function gyro, at least. Because what that, at the very least, that would have meant the Reaper had to deal with your body, and he would have got the full cap. Here, this is a good position. I like your rotation here. I hope you don't fall down. I hope you know about this, and you're just gonna... No, you fell down. I wouldn't have walked into this. This is not salvageable. I would have DPS'd from the edge, for sure, but you're not going to be able to deal with this. I would lich as well right now. Good, you did lich. And then the hammer. I was going to say I'd dodge the hammer, but I don't think you had the endurance. Yeah, you could have just stayed up. You could have been patient, and you could have been fine on that one. I think that's a huge throw. I think your 2 unnecessary deaths there were a big, big, big throw. I think you could have stayed up. Let me just express why staying up is so good. You get free damage. Neither of their classes can really hit you. You might take some axe pressure or some strikes from a focus, but you can always outrange. You're going to outrange anyway because of the hammer strike. And then what do? Well, the thief, if he wants to come at you, he's got a huge adventure to get to you. He's not going to be able to do it. So you have 2 of them awkwardly stand around. So then the thief decides to leave. You just hit him with marks. Free damage, free damage, free damage. Or the Reaper leaves. You just kill whoever's here, right? They can't realistically cap this, or if they do, they're so low on cooldowns and condied up that then when you dip down with full Shroud and Lich, it's a free kill. If you get plus by the other one because they were really patient and stayed, then you kite, and oh look, you've been holding a 2v1 for how long? So absolutely patient staying at the stop. You could have made a big play for your team there. Obviously, you had died and need to respawn. This guy died and need to respawn. This guy died and need to respawn. You're majorly staggered. You're losing objectives because it's getting all really snowbally and people are just insta-dying here. So your 2v1 there would have been exactly what your team needs. What we look at now is while you're dead, what that thief does. Does he score some value somewhere and do you end up losing the game? Because I genuinely think it's not just you, but that's like a game-losing throw if we see that they get value off the snowball. So here's a thief. He's on your Scourge. You're respawning onto close, which is a dead rotation. Your Guardian's already won that. So this is all very, very slow. Nice long respawn time for you, so not very good. Looks like the thief didn't get too much value, so it wasn't that bad, all right? I mean, look, there's kind of a thing. There's the theory of what happens, and then there's what actually happens. And if what actually happens, you know, the RNG doesn't swing something one way or another, it doesn't sort of invalidate the theory, if that makes sense. So I still think that, you know, it was very dangerous to put a lot of pressure on your team. So let's see what you do when you're at mid here. You're casting off point. Did you Shroud? Is this Shrouds? I don't like this. No, okay, good. You're not in Shroud. You've prepped your... I think you've been too quick with Spectral here. I think sometimes... Look, you had a random CC thrown at you there. And I get it. It feels good to stun break. But one of the main ways to win, especially against Hollow, by the way... is if you eat a random CC like a long range point blank shot, don't stun break it. If they're not in Photon Forge and they don't have much follow up, you can just literally sit there and save the stun break. Honestly, the more stun breaks you have against Hollow, the better in a lot of cases, right? Anyway, this is another situation. I think a lot of low-rated people, they're seeing that they get CC'd and they instant stun break, and they don't need to. You don't need to instant stun break. This is a really deadly engagement. I would be kiting without fail right now. You're going deep on the node. I'm not sure what cooldown you think it is you've got that's really, really good in melee here. Like a Doom in melee is really good. So I think you're being followed, aren't you? I would climb onto this and take the jump around the side if I'd practice that, or I'd keep running around here or take this jump here. I would just go like that, and I would trail. I would be running at full speed, and I would make sure I land my 5 and my 2 on the guy with free cam looking behind me. Is he following? He's not. Okay, so then this is also good. You could just keep pressuring here. I don't necessarily think Shroud was the best thing there. Or the dodge roll off the edge. That really scares me. I know you got tethered here, right? And you're scared that you're going to get pulled down onto the node. Actually, to tell you the truth, I'm wrong. I actually like your play there. When was it? When was the tether? Let's see. You're tethered at this point. I don't have audio, so I hadn't actually seen the tether there while I was watching the footage. You're tethered here. Yeah, do you know what? I would actually do exactly what you did. I think you're good there. I think I would have pulled a bit more around on the right to break it earlier. Because if he pulls there, it's still kind of awkward. You end up underneath, and he, like, Sword 2 follows up. I wouldn't take this fight here. This is such a bad fight for you. I'd re-engage with your friends or push around to here. They're losing all the side points. I think you're wasting time, I'm afraid. That was a really clutch Shroud. That I really like your reaction time on that. Oh, no. It's kind of hard because everything I'm watching is super speed here, so I don't actually know what your reaction time's like. But anyway, but you've spent so much. You've spent so much. Here you're looking at the pain of the build, to be honest. A Scourge could be actually doing some really impactful stuff here, but your Terror, it doesn't scale too well up at mid. Really, this is all about that Prot Hollow countering you. He drops a hard light arena and cleanses the crap out of everything you could possibly do. You'll kind of burst Condi, and it's just so good. He does it to all of his allies as well. So it's not a good fight. Scourge would have been good at the start of this fight. Here, let me show you this footage. If you think about all the res potential and stuff around here, I think you're wasting time. That said, you survive here till respawns and do win the engagement, which is just bizarre to me to see all these bodies on top of one another. But that was all on their node. You got no one ready for sides. You got no one at the hammer right now. Oh, okay, you got 2 people going for it. That's a triple kill. These fights are really weird. Everyone on the node all the time is I have to say, it's very alien to me. And I think you got value here. I think this worked out because you and your Scourge managed to kill them all. You might be sitting there very happy and impressed with that and feeling good, but that's not really anything to do with you. That's just that the enemy team is all standing on the node in a weird way. You chose to plus the hammer, and I think that's a reasonable decision. You got great matchup into the Reaper there, and you managed to fear chain him. This Hollow put his arena off of the body and without high heat, which is also excellent. His cooldown's going to be really long on that, so you can take that kill. But really, you have to now start playing risky. And you have to... In fact, your guy just lost his 1v1 here. So you lose this game. I don't think you lose this game particularly because of you. I think you lose this game because your allies did very badly as well. This is one of those this is a really good example of a low-rated game to me, in that there's so little sort of tangible to work with when everyone just runs to nodes, instantly loses 1v1s. There's no real kiting going on. I would feel a bit tilted by this game. I would feel like it's not entirely your fault. I do think that there were some crucial little missteps. I think you got overly punished for your missteps there, though. I think on a different build you could have done a lot better. So, some of these big engagements where you were with the whole team, if you had res potential, you had more AoE, more corrupt, I think you would have done well. And that sort of scourge there, when you think in those terms. It's really unfortunate that you lost. I don't think it was that bad on your end, but hopefully the little points that I mentioned there have got some worth to you. But yeah, if you played this game, you lost, and you felt a loss, like, oh, was there some major play I could have done to win? There were a couple, but overall I do feel like you got a little bit screwed by your team there. Basically, the enemy team, as soon as they got the snowball, they were able to hold this from you. And I think the enemy thief started doing well. I don't know when the last time I saw he died was, and he was able to just consistently swing a lot of these little point fights. So yeah, interesting game. Thanks very much for submitting it. Hope you enjoyed. Sorry that you dip a bit lower into Gold 1, but keep at it. I think you're playing Terra Necro in a pretty cool way. Another bit of advice to you. Remember that the point blank range Doom is what's really good. And try to blow Condition Cleanse and Stun Breaks before your big Fear Bomb. Stop going for it first. Be patient. Be slower than them, okay? Blow cooldowns before you go for your big attack. That is true on every single build that has some kind of specific key win condition, all right? It needs to be able to pressure to get rid of defensives. No one out there, well, very few people out there are running with 0 cleanse, 0 stun break. Very few people. And, you know, so you just have to assume that they'll do it, all right? Fear is getting countered by both of those things. So it's especially important on Core Necro. Be more patient. All right, so there you go. That's it. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.